we live in an exciting data revolution where technology is rapidly changing the way we work and live. At OVH Cloud, we are at the forefront of this digital shift as a leading global cloud provider and the #1 cloud solution in Europe, serving customers worldwide. We are independent and vertically integrated with our data centers across our own fiber optic network, bringing businesses everywhere a secure and efficient alternative to the other cloud hyperscalers with complete respect for data protection. And just how are we different from the tech giants? Here are 4 key advantages. Our history is grounded in developing innovative efficiencies with a clear vision for a more sustainable future. We own the full value chain, and we manage the product lifecycle. With our vibrant ecosystem of partners, customers, and our common goals, we offer a complete portfolio of cloud solutions in total compliance to industry and open source standards. And as an ecosystem, we are driven by purpose, united by common product values. Together, we are change makers, building the future of technology for all. And now, let's get started.
We're back on set, socially distanced again, so let's take off our masks. Hello everyone, and welcome to this day 2 of OVH Cloud Ecosystem Experience. Today, I'll share the set with 2 leaders of OVH Cloud, CDMO Ludovina Bucci, but also Alain Fiocco, CTO, plus some more guests to see how the ecosystem insights are actually driving their roadmap of innovative solutions. Hi, Ludovina.
Hi, Jeremy.
First, as CDMO, let me ask, if I may, we hear the term ecosystem a great deal. Is this just a buzzword for marketing?
That's a great question, Jeremy, and I understand why you're asking it. My answer is simple. At OVH Cloud, ecosystem is anything but a marketing buzzword.
Okay, that's a nice soundbite, but let's try and attempt to prove that then. Tell me a little bit more if you can.
Okay, I will share with you my personal experience. When I joined OVH Cloud back in February, everyone told me about the ecosystem mindset. Then, as I was getting to know my team, the COVID crisis hit. Immediately, my team and I decided to activate this ecosystem. As Europe was looking down, we launched Open Solidarity. This is a global initiative aimed to providing free technical solutions based on OVH Cloud infrastructure to support remote work, education, and health services. This collective approach of the ecosystem expanded our ability to help businesses and customers when they most needed it.
But what happened then?
In just a couple of weeks, over 60 vendors joined this project, allowing hundreds of thousands of users worldwide to keep working, learning, and caring during the lockdown.
Okay, but COVID, hopefully, is a temporary issue. How does the ecosystem work on a day-to-day basis?
First of all, our ecosystem is based on strong values and a common core belief. Innovation is for freedom. These shared values are the basis of our relationship with our customers and strategic and technologic partners. We created 4 programs in order to better match needs and use cases. First is our partner program, which helps companies better support their digital transformation. We engage over 650 partners, such as Soprasteria, Capgemini, Cognix, Serco, etc. Second, we have the Open Trusted Cloud program that we just launched and that grew out of Open Solidarity. The goal here is to co-build an ecosystem of sovereign SaaS and PaaS solutions. Third is OVH Cloud Marketplace, which already has over 70 vendors and 250 unique solutions. Limited fees are central to its model, and it will be available for your information at Worldwide in 2021. We continue to recruit new solutions. For example, Thales will offer in January 3 new solutions. First is our startup program, which has just been revamped and plans to enroll over 500 new startups this year. Speaking of startup, don't miss the startup pitch contest. We will announce the winner on Thursday.
How can you be sure that these 4 programs fulfill the market expectations, though? Have you actually asked the community itself?
Yes, this program has been co-designed with our community. We encourage their unlimited feedback, which gives us insight in developing innovative roadmap. The feedback also allows us to track customers and user expectation, developing tight and trusted relation with our partners, customer and user is essential, but we don't allow this to limit our knowledge gain from ever-changing market trends.
Talking about market trends, we have an expert online, Lauren Nelson, Research Director serving infrastructure and operations professionals at Forrester. Lauren, thanks a lot for being with us from the US East Coast. A small question to start with. Could you share with us your views on the worldwide cloud market?
Sure. So thanks for having me today. The worldwide cloud market is growing. So the last 5 years, the cloud has been in hypergrowth. And in 2019, it started to slow down. Cloud growth was still in double digits, but we started to see organizations stabilize their cloud strategies. In 2020, that has changed. So cloud is back in hypergrowth. We see organizations reporting growth numbers far above what it was in 2019. Empowering this change is a number of things. So organizations are looking to try and adapt. They see this opportunity to try and be nimble, to try and react to the new challenges that are thrown their way. And in order to do so, they're using cloud to power that transformation. They're not only using the actual computing power itself, but they're also using the marketplace of tools that are readily available for them to be able to build new apps, to be able to respond to new demands that their business is facing, whether that's supply chain, ability to deliver products to their customers, or to build new ways of interacting with their business.
Would you say this is actually accelerating some sort of developments that were taking place a few years ago and it's just got quicker now?
Very much so. So when we look at cloud in 2020, you see that a lot of the processes that are already in play have sped up, especially short wins. Cloud migrations, projects where there was a short turnaround for success, whereas longer term projects that are largely modernizations, where they're trying to make large installed changes that take a longer time for value to be achieved, we're seeing those slow down slightly. But anything that is attached to a short-term win or real-time business need to react to their current situation has accelerated past what the initial plans were.
How do you see the future of private cloud and what challenges that's answering?
So private cloud in most companies' minds is split between 2 different environments. One, the on-prem environment that they're managing, which today in 2020 is facing a lot of cuts, reduction in CapEx spending, and a lot of pressure to try and reduce costs in their own on-prem environment. When you're looking at the other side of that question with hosted private cloud, we're seeing very similar patterns to the public cloud market. With organizations accelerating their migrations, they find that private cloud has greater flexibility, greater options, elements that look more closely aligned to their on-premise environments, and greater options for tenancy models so that they can better meet various security and regulation requirements for their different application types.
Do you see any concerns from customers regarding costs, Lauren? I mean, there are always, unhappy surprises sometimes.
Cost is a big topic in 2020. In fact, organizations are trying to think about their technology budgets. Whenever we hit an economic crisis, organizations immediately go into cost-cutting mode, especially when we think about technology. What's different about 2020 is organizations find themselves in different modes. They find that they're either in survival mode, adaptive mode, or growth mode. And based on where they're experiencing their current circumstance, their technology budget is affected in different ways. So, for example, someone in survival mode is very much looking to reduce spending, especially CapEx spending. They're delaying refreshes. They're trying to really cut where they can, anything that is considered discretionary spending. Somebody in adaptive mode is thinking about, well, how do we focus our spending on responding to our current reality? How do we focus our spending on things that matter most? Whereas organizations in growth mode are increasing their technology budgets and trying to figure out, how do we deliver all of this new demand while maintaining our expected customer experience? So budgets very much mean different things to different companies today. When you're thinking about ways of cutting costs in the cloud, some of the big ones that come up, so private cloud is actually a way companies have been heavily reducing cost of cloud in overall cloud spend. They're leveraging this for better configuration fits. They're leveraging it for better tenancy models to respond to regulatory requirements in a more cost affordable manner. They're also looking at tools like cloud cost optimization solutions to look for cloud spending waste, to be able to look for areas where they haven't had the correct configurations in place, where they're right sizing their instance resources. And they're also looking at areas where they might be able to use reserved instances or longer commitments in time to be able to reduce their spend. So there are a lot of different techniques that companies are using today, but it is very much for the majority of companies. It just looks very different for companies depending on what their current mode is.
Thank you, Lauren. And back with you, Ludivine. How does OVH Cloud use these market insights that Lauren just referred to?
Some would say OVH Cloud has grown as a product-centric company. It's true if we consider that our sales and marketing teams have developed quick recently in the past 21 years. But the fact is that users are always been central to OVH Cloud's roadmap. Our technical teams work closely with them. This partnership starts with our founder, Octave Klaba, who still works with our customer to discover the needs and create technical solutions. This unique approach and the close relationship we have with them is really important for us. We've developed creative solutions, such as the private cloud, where we have been pioneers. We've also developed our 4 universes and a better fit with market usage. Web cloud, bare metal cloud, public cloud, and hosted private cloud. They are the outcomes of work with and for our user. Let's let Luc Dursault, CEO of Atempo, talk about his experience as a long-time active ecosystem customer.
Welcome, Luc.
Thank you. Hello.
Hello.
How did you find your place within the OVH Cloud experience?
Well, we began our partnership with OVH for Wuxopen, a subsidiary of our group. We needed to offer our SMBs customers confidentiality and territoriality for the externalized data. So we have to host them on a sovereign platform. Then we joined the OVH marketplace to offer our solution to the largest members. Today, you can find our solution for backup, for instance, backup solution for laptops directly online. Last March, we entered the Cedric-So appeal for the mobilization of the French tech ecosystem. We were first in line to support the OVH Open Solidarity Initiative, and we were able to offer for free our solutions in a period during which the cyber criminality was doubling in intensity and impact. More recently, we have also joined with Atempo, the Open Trusted Cloud platform. The reason why is that we wanted to offer a package solution for customers, large customers, who care about the confidentiality and the jurisdiction of the data. And we wanted to package this solution, so we are offering massive data migration, either for the offsite, either from American platforms back to OVH sovereign platform. This solution is also offering backup and archiving capabilities and features. And of course, it makes a unique value proposal for large accounts. With the cancellation of the privacy shield, I think it makes a lot of sense for public major players and as well for vital service providers.
Okay, but any company has well-defined routes to market. How different is this, though?
I think what is interesting about the OVH ecosystem is that it works a little bit like a neuronal network. It's not only a business flow between the software vendor and OVH itself. The business circulates among the members, and that makes a lot of difference. For instance, we can bundle highly interoperable solutions within a package solution, and this kind of solution is satisfying a lot of customers today because we can offer homogeneous and also protection, performance, and security within the European jurisdiction boundaries.
Thank you, Ludovine. One last word before we switch to the tech section with Elaine. How far down this path to a developed ecosystem are you?
We are really just getting started. Thanks to this ecosystem, we're developing a real alternative to the big players. We'll succeed in co-creating a cloud that makes data revolution a success for all, only by working together as an ecosystem and completely changing the game.
Let's take a look now on the tech side. I'm more than happy to welcome with me on stage Alain Fiocco, the CTO of OVH Cloud, to learn more about the roadmap his teams develop within this unique ecosystem. Hi, Alain. Now, tell us about CVH Cloud's innovation journey. Most companies state they're always innovating, but what they really mean is iterative improvements. What are you doing, and how are you going to change the cloud industry?
Make no mistake, right? Iterative improvement is okay, it's good, and we have to do it. But what we've tried to do recently and in the past as well is to basically talk to customers and try to find out really what they want in terms of use cases. And based on that, try to look at from the ground up how we can build systems that will drive innovation. So instead of looking at little innovation, we're actually looking truly from the ground up at the foundation. And this way, for example, the last few months, we've been looking at where the customers are going in terms of performance improvements, in terms of resiliency, and we've built systems starting from the infrastructure and the servers and how we assemble components into the servers to deliver the true value. Based on that, you can truly innovate at the service level.
Talking of the customers and talking to them, so how is this different to what they were demanding before? It's not like you've just discovered this. Surely it's like, so what were they asking before to what they're asking now?
Yeah, so there is clearly a change in the way, in what the customers are requesting in terms of performance, resiliency, scale. We've had in the past also, because we've been addressing a different type of customers more recently, more like very large enterprises and government institutions, public sector, those kind of things. We've actually been asked to deliver much higher scale, much higher resiliency, much higher performance than we used to. And on top of that, the use case is also evolving. A lot of the data that was stored in the cloud in the past, even in recent past, was actually accessed by a relatively traditional workflow. Those workflows are evolving for more real-time, more direct interactions with the images, for doing artificial intelligence, real-time machine learning, real-time prediction. That requires much more capacity and much more performance that we used to deliver in the past. That way, we basically had to rethink quite significantly the way the infrastructure is being built.
And what sort of size, companies are you talking about demanding this sort of change, though? Like, are you talking about everybody, the SMEs as well, or are you talking about just the big operators that want this change?
No, we're talking about different things, actually. We're talking about big enterprises, for example, public sector institutions, but we're also talking about more digital native companies that require some very specific and niche infrastructure for delivering, for example, artificial intelligences. Sometimes those companies are not necessarily very big, but they are providing services to big companies, and they have to deal with state-of-the-art kind of workflows and applications.
And what sort of learnings have you had to do to actually increase this scale, increase this size? Because it's not like turning on a tap, extra resources, extra people, extra learnings. How have you managed to upscale like this?
Exactly. And every time you change something for the better, you have to change all the elements that connect to it, right? So it's really something that you have to do in an iterative way. But let me give you an example, right? If you provide more CPU capacity, more compute capacity, very quickly, the next bottleneck is going to be access to storage. You remove that bottleneck, there will be another bottleneck that comes out, which is the network. And so we really had to look at the whole system on how we deliver a super high speed infrastructure, fabric infrastructure in the data center. How do we connect servers to it? How do we connect storage to it? Enable east to west traffic with no contention. And that way the system itself scale, and everybody, all the services that we put on top, public cloud, hosted private cloud, and any kind of services will benefit from that infrastructure improvement.
This sounds significant. What's the level of investment you've had to do to actually do that?
Timing-wise, you mean? Well, we're talking about it. This is something that has started quite a while back. And in terms of investment in CapEx, this is what we do, right? OVH Cloud is about building infrastructure and renting it out to customers. So nothing really different, except that the scale and the size of what we've been doing is actually quite significant. Let me give you just another additional example. We are right now building 2 new data centers just to address the needs for trusted cloud security for public sector and critical infrastructure operator.
Okay, well, that touches on the next question I have for you, which is about new opportunities using the cloud. And that sounds like one of them right there. So, we talk about hybrid cloud all the time. There are many different definitions of it. Perhaps you'd like to give me your own, because I've heard many. So, what are the opportunities here? You mentioned public, but also hybrid.
Yeah, so I guess there are many definitions of what it is, because there are many different places where the customers are coming from, right? Not every customer is equal. So definitely, people are operating private cloud. That means on-prem, in-house, using cloud technologies to the extent that this is possible. Then what we're providing in our case is we can transpose this into our cloud, and we do hosted private cloud. So no changes in what you do. You have dedicated resources, except that instead of being on-prem, now this is within OVH, and we deliver that. We've launched a product just a few months ago called Hosted Private Cloud Premier to address specifically that use case, lift and shift kind of transition to the cloud. And the minute you put this in the cloud, as of a sudden you get the elasticity and the scale that you would get from the cloud. So that's one way of looking at it. Customers very often don't go, I shut this one off and I enable this one. They use both, right? And this is the reason why we say hybrid. You need to provide that seamless connectivity and the seamless possibility to transition processes and workloads from here to here, storage from here to there and back, and so on. Then there is a multi-cloud. So a number of companies, sometimes they don't even have on-prem infrastructure. There are a number of companies that are using multiple clouds for 2 reasons. Either for diversity, they want to have the resiliency that 2 different clouds provider would provide, but they also may have some specific needs that only one will provide at a point in time, because of a specific niche technology or because of a particular geographical coverage. And in that case, they may want to use this one for this purpose and this one for another use case, but they still need those 2 things to collaborate and work together. Maintaining, for example, consistency on the way you manage security, on the way you manage your users, on the way you manage the rights of your users, and so on and so forth. That's multi-cloud. If you have 2, great, but if you have 3 and 4, then it becomes truly a multi-cloud infrastructure. In our case, we even have multiple cloud into our own service portfolio. There are customers consuming public cloud, that is shared resources. We also have customers consuming hosted private cloud, that's dedicated resource. They still want to have the communication going between the 2. They still want to use that as a common platform. So we offer all that flexibility. We offer the possibility to connect those things together so customers can consume whatever they want, as they want, and build a solution, a custom solution. And lately, we've actually extended the reach of this and enabled the customers to connect from outside with OVH Cloud Connect and the partnerships that we've announced with Equinix and Megaport. So any customers can connect to those telecom providers, let's say, and connect back into OVH Cloud anywhere in the world, because those two partners have hundreds of point of presence globally.
We haven't talked about 5G at all. And obviously there's lots of talk about with the cloud and obviously edge computing and obviously 5G and how the effect that will have on that. Is this, you're obviously working on a lot at the moment for the immediate future and how you will innovate in that space, but we're talking a bit further down the line here. What are your thoughts on that? Is it even necessary for people to start thinking in these terms right now?
That's a good question, and that would require a very long talk, but let me try to make it very short. When people are talking about edge, they don't necessarily mean edge, at the back of the antenna, right? Sometimes edge is there is a difference between a far edge and a close edge. A lot of the application will be very, very happy in terms of transit delay between the user and the cloud, the computer, the storage infrastructure, in a matter of 1 or 2 milliseconds. If you do that, the kind of radius that you need to cover a large country like France or Germany or UK, we're not talking about thousands of sites, we're talking about a few dozens. And that, to me, looks like a cloud, right? Maybe an extended one compared to what we have today, but still, we're talking about cloud infrastructure. When we're talking about the far edge, like for 5G, for new application, which frankly we haven't seen yet, then in that case, yeah, eventually we need to put resources outside in the wild, let's say, but still manage them centrally by using the cloud, technical stack.
Okay, so 5G's possible investment for the future then. So let's talk about more present day stuff. So earlier this year, you launched a major upgrade to the hosted private cloud range. Is that right?
Yes, this is right. But before we go there, let me give you a little bit of history here. What we did, in fact, is we rethought the entire portfolio of high-end bare metal servers, and to such a point that we've really started from the ground up, as I said, and we will be delivering in the coming months a completely new range of the high-end bare metal cloud servers with things like clusters for hyper-converged infrastructure, software-defined storage, pre-installed software. The reason why I'm saying this is because this is what we used to deliver Premiere. Right. We took all of that and we co-designed with Vmware the next generation of hosted private cloud. The hosted private cloud is something that we've had in the portfolio for quite a long time. We are delivering a software-defined data center stack to customers coming from Vmware. And this relationship has been going on for 10 years. Over the last 12 months, we've actually redesigned this product based on the new infrastructure. As a consequence, we're bringing to market something that is unmatched in the industry in terms of performance, resiliency, and price. And the co-development with VMware has brought us to that level, and we will continue to enhance this platform. That was the first incarnation of this new infrastructure. So very proud of that. This is up and running. This has been in production for almost 6 months now, and customers' feedback is actually very, very good.
Okay, so let's ask VMware how it actually works being part of this ecosystem. We're lucky to be online in the US, West Coast, with VMware CEO Pat Gelsinger. Hi there, Pat. Can you hear me?
Hi, Jeremy. Great to be with you today.
What does OVH Cloud represent for VMware as a cloud provider? Why is it important to have sovereign and regional players, do you think?
Well, first, I'd like to just say thank you. And OVH Cloud, they've been a great partner with VMware for quite a number of years now. And we've partnered globally as well as there in Europe. So what a pleasure to be able to join and speak at this event. And what we've seen is that, companies want to be able to have that strong local player to meet some of their sovereign needs for the most sensitive workloads, government workloads, where data privacy requirements are the highest in the industry. And this ability to be both a very large and powerful player like OVH Cloud, but also be there in Europe and be that local player as well, a powerful combination. And we're very excited with the announcement back in July of the Premier Cloud offering. And since that availability, customers are on it. We're seeing great interest in the marketplace for the VMware OVH Premier offering. So I think we're clearly on to the right strategy together.
Well, how does OVH Cloud Strategy fit into VMware's product portfolio, as you mentioned it, and a multi and a hybrid cloud strategy at that?
Yeah, and we're on this path to a multi-cloud, and we think every customer wants this idea of how can I harness the power of multiple clouds. And we've spent a lot of time building our partnerships with Amazon, with Azure, Google, Oracle, IBM, Alibaba. But you combine that with the regional players like OVH Cloud, and now you have a potent combination, being able to leverage that hyperscale and that global footprint, but also being able to utilize powerful local players like OVH Cloud. And that's the multi-cloud future. And combining that with private cloud and hybrid and multiple cloud, that's where OVH Cloud plays such a powerful role for us in our strategy. But it isn't just that. It's also that they're adding on top of it the developer layer as well. And our partnership around the Tanzu offering, which brings containers and Kubernetes into the offering, says we're delivering the developer platform and the infrastructure to run it. So overall, OVH Cloud, a great partner, strategically aligned. We look forward to the great things we do in the future, building on the great things we've already done in the marketplace together. And thanks so much for the opportunity to join today.
That's excellent. Thanks very much for your time, Pat. It's much appreciated. Thanks very much, Pat. It certainly sounds like you two are both excited about this collaboration.
It's always great to hear it from Pat. One thing very unique we're doing with this platform, we've actually took it and submitted the certification with the National Security Agency. I was mentioning the needs for public sector and critical infrastructure operator for a trusted environment. So we've actually asked the National Security Agency to certify it. The certification is called SecNum Cloud. That's probably one of the most stringent qualification process in the industry. So we're very proud that we've been able to go through that. This is not completely public yet, but this is coming very, very soon.
Let's talk about data and the ability to enable AI and ML. Storage needs and the solutions for it have been around for decades. Have we gotten to the pivotal moment yet in the industry where the promise of insight and prediction is genuine thanks to AI, not something that we've had before where it's been sort of false promises? Are we actually there?
Yeah. Good point. So two things, right? In order to gain insight, in order to be able to do prediction, in order to be able to really leverage the data for value, you need two things. First of all, you need the data, obviously, and you need to have the computing power to mine this data to get the insight. And you also need to have the algorithms and the data scientists infrastructure and workflow to be able to do that. We're coming to that point, and we're coming to that point from two angles. First of all, the type of data that we are storing nowadays have changed quite a bit over the last few years. There's been a change because we used to have very structured data, databases, lines and columns. Now we have a lot of unstructured data, speech, images, movies, streams of IoT sensors. All of that information is being stored and has been stored for quite some time now.
These companies don't know quite what to do with it.
Exactly. The thing, but it's not necessarily that they don't know what to do, is how they are actually going to mine this data. And nowadays we're coming to a point where the data is actually coming together with the capacity to effectively use it. So we're doing two things at OVH to kind of sustain that momentum. One is in the storage space, we've actually accelerated dramatically with a couple of acquisitions to be able to deliver a storage infrastructure that will meet those requirements, both in terms of capacity, which we were doing for already, but also in terms of performance. Because the minute you manipulate the data, when you do AI, for example, you need a lot of I/O, you need a lot of performance to the storage, and you need multiple tiers of storage so that you have the right price-performance ratio at any tier. And so we actually accelerating on that. We made a couple of acquisitions over the summer. On the other side, we now customers and partners and the data scientist ecosystem to launch machine learning, data processing, and AI processes at scale without having necessarily to understand what's happening underneath. You know, all the nitty-gritty details about, you know, all the systems that you need to orchestrate all of that. This is impediment to the data scientists. They don't want to know about that. They want to bring their AI and machine learning algorithm and just get the data and just mine it. So we are delivering that to them. It's going to be very, very simple. People are going to have to decide what they want to do with the data, where is the data, bring the code to actually manipulate the data, and they're going to be charged by the time they use the GPU. This is as simple, right? They're going to launch the jobs. We're going to run the jobs for them with all the monitoring. We give them the result. If it lasts 30 seconds, we charge them for 30 seconds. If it lasts 3 hours, we charge them for 3 hours.
The trick there is knowing what to do with the data. Like you say, oh, it's simple. You just want to know what you want to do with the data. That's the hard part.
That's true. And this is where a lot of the ecosystem is coming together, right? You have a lot of sometimes small companies, but very innovative companies that are working on algorithm on AI. So some are specializing in speech, right? Speech to speech. Others are specializing in natural language processing. Others are specializing in manipulating the images and the pictures and so on and so forth. All of those, we provide a platform for them to scale and democratize the use of this AI.
Let's talk about the ecosystem again. The ecosystem, how will the ecosystem develop and maintain innovation for all of its users? Again, that's something easy to say, but it's very hard to do. How are you going to maintain this?
Yeah, well, so yes, I agree with you. This is very hard to do. So, you know, we'll see what happens. We'll see if we are successful. But the thing is, in our case, we're trying to provide platform for these ecosystem players to come and develop their value. They don't have to redevelop anything underneath. So we make it easier for them to get to market and to scale. And this is our value proposition to them and to their customers, right? So now they can deploy this at scale. They can industrialize those processes, right? I mean, up until now, it was very much researchy type of activities. Now we're getting to a point where we need to really deploy and scale at production level.
And speaking of natural language processing, you're working with a natural language processing company right now, aren't you?
Yeah, indeed, called Hugging Face. They're the hot startup in that field of natural language processing. They are in the mission to democratize NLP, and we are here to help them, just provide them the infrastructure to run their AI jobs for them and their customers.
And we're glad to have the CTO on stage with us here today, actually. Welcome, Julian Schulman. Thanks for joining us.
Hi.
2 questions for you. What's the value for you of a cloud service to host, launch, and monitor specialized AI jobs?
Yeah, so first, Hugging Face is an open source machine learning company based in New York and Paris. And our goal is to advance artificial intelligence and natural language processing through open source and open science. We have more than 1,000 users and customers, companies using our open source in production. And in a lot of cases, they want to train large-scale models in the cloud. And so OVH Cloud is a good cloud provider for them because they get access to state-of-the-art GPU capabilities. Modern artificial intelligence needs really good GPUs, and basically the Rolls-Royce of GPUs is the NVIDIA V100, and that's a good thing because that's what OVH Cloud has.
So this is the sort of thing that OVH Cloud can do to better serve customers and sort of democratize and help the use of NLP, would you say?
Our users launch large-scale trainings, so they need access to a scalable pool of GPUs and also storage for data sets and models. And OVH Cloud is great because they get the ability to scale to to a large number of GPUs.
Excellent. Thanks very much for your time, Julian. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. Let's close this second keynote of the OVH Cloud ecosystem experience with you, Elaine. Thanks so much for this incredible journey into the ecosystem you have. You and I could talk for hours on this, but try to sum it up in a few words if you could. What's coming up on the roadmap shortly?
You've seen the roadmap is there is a lot to announce over the next few weeks and months. But let me start first by saying that you've seen that we leveraging the ecosystem a lot. So Intel, AMD, Nvidia, Samsung, Vmware. We're going to launch a few things with NetApp and Nutanix as well in the coming weeks, a month rather. End of December, we will be launching a new storage solutions based on NetApp ONTAP. Early January, we're going to have those two new ranges of bare metal servers and clusters that we are going to make available. Scale and high grade are the two ranges, very high end. We're going to also make them available with pre-installed software on it, such as Nutanix and NetApp again. Moving into February, March, and the spring, you will see a lot of things in the public cloud, object storage solutions, high-performance object storage, high-performance block storage, and a revamp of the public cloud as well. So this is endless, it never ends. This roadmap is fueling the four universes: bare metal cloud, hosted private cloud, public cloud, and web cloud. So it really never ends.
Thanks so much, Alain. That's all from us, this OVH Cloud ecosystem experience. But stay tuned all day for more and more content, breakout sessions, workshops, demos, masterclasses, and so much more. Tomorrow, same place, same time, you'll have a unique chance to meet with OVH Cloud founder Octave Clabin. For now, bye-bye.